Who wants to make a deal? Felix. Come here, Felix. Dressed as one of my favorite video game characters.
Former Guam resident Felix Reyes made a deal and won.
My father is Felix Reyes. His family's from Agate. My tata is Tony Enrique Reyes. You know, they call him the oldest altar boy in the world from Mount Carmel Church. And my mom, her family is Aquino from Santa Rita.
You're going home with $2,000. I mean 50. Ladies and gentlemen, $50,000.
It was last week on the CBS hit show Let's Make a Deal that Reyes, who is a stand-up comedian, walked away a winner. He says that he's been to Guam plenty of times before, with his last visit back in 1998. He explains how he managed to score tickets for the show.
One of my friends called me up, and they had a ticket for like a group to go. So my friend Dee from San Diego, I live in Hollywood now. She called me, and then I met them at the studio. And there was about, let's say, I think it was 8 of us.
He adds that he didn't think he was going to get selected.
I was sitting so far in the back, I was actually in the very last seat to get into the show. I was sitting like way in the corner, like in the very last seat for anybody to come in. So I really didn't think, you know, during the taping I hadn't even had a chance to even be on the show.
Dressed as Wayne Brady's favorite video game character, I asked what made him decide to go as Raiden for Mortal Kombat.
I'm a big fan of like video games, so I was trying to think of something different because I would religiously watch that show and The Price is Right like every morning. So no matter what was going on, I'd always wake up at like over here in like in San Diego and Hollywood. I wake up at like 9 and 10 o'clock to watch both the shows. So I would constantly see people wearing different kinds of costumes, you know, and everybody would pretty much wear the same kind of things that they would get at a costume store.
He put a great amount of thought into his costume.
I actually got somebody to sew. I went down and I got the blue cloth, and I got somebody to sew the outlining of the black. And then I just went to Chinatown and got a hat, and then got a belt, and that's how the costume came about.
So what was going through his head when he heard his name?
I was shocked because I was sitting there, and, you know, he just said, usually when they pick people, they say what they are, you know? Because they'll say, like, oh, we want to stay at the Elf, or, you understand, they'll say, you know, the guy with the whatever, the guy in the banana suit. So when he said Felix, it kind of like took me a second. I was like, oh, wait a minute, he's talking about me.
So did Reyes have any type of strategy?
I always told myself that, you know, always go for the curtain, because no matter how much money they're going to give you, initially, it's usually, you know, only like maybe like $500 or $1,000, and I'm like, I can make that, you know, but the possibility of the prizes, you know, sometimes behind the curtain there's a car, there's a trip, you know, a boat. So it's usually 10 times the amount of what you're risking, you know, from the initial offer.
Well, how did he do it? He says, it may sound a little bit crazy.
Right before he asked me, like, do you want curtain number 1, curtain number 2, or curtain number 3, you know, I heard my mom's voice in my head. Wayne Brady asked me, he said, why did you pick number 2? And I told him, I said, I heard a voice tell me to pick number 2. And then he steps to the side and he was like, oh, you're crazy, you know, but he was just joking.
With strategy and the voice of his mom echoing in his head, Reyes won himself a trip to Scotland and Canada.
Those 2 trips I actually wanted to go to because I have friends in Canada. And over in Scotland, they have a big comedy fest that I want to go to.
And anyone who watches the show knows this is where it gets tricky. The decision came down to risking those trips and the possibility of winning only $1,000.
My attitude in life has always been, hey, you know, that's why I said on the TV show, I was just like, hey, you only live once, you know, you might as well go for it.
So again, he heard his mom's voice, paused, and picked the emerald envelope.
Wayne Brady tricked me and he said, oh, it's 2,000, and I was like, you know, I was so broke, I was like, oh, that's great, even 2,000 because I could pay my rent for like 3-4 months. But then, you know, after that, he was like 50,000, and that's when I just lost it.
And he had every reason to. This Guam boy had just won himself $50,000. As for what he has planned for the money,
I have been single for a long time, and the past couple of days, I've actually had about 3 or 4 girls ask me out on a date, so that's a positive thing.
all joking aside, Regis will be on island in October for a few shows in a few weeks and is looking forward to it.
Hi to all my cousins and my aunties and my uncles down there in Agate, and my other family down there in Santa Rita, everybody at Mount Carmel Church, everybody at St. Jude. That's the church my mom used to work at. When I get down there, I'm just going to be really happy to see everybody.
Now, if you want to show him some Guam love and congratulate him, you can find him on Facebook under Guam Felix.
$403. This doesn't happen every day, so you can let it out. It's quite all right.